The quantum sensors aboard the International Space Station first detected the anomaly at 300 UTC. Dr. Sarah Chen, lead astrophysicist for the United Earth Defense Initiative, watched as the readings defied everything humanity thought they knew about spacetime. The void between Mars and Jupiter had begun to ripple like disturbed water, and through this disturbance emerged the ships of the Nexus Collective. They came in perfect geometric formations, each vessel an identical crystalline structure that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. The fleet numbered exactly 1,000 ships, arranged in a precise cubic pattern that spoke of an intelligence that valued order above all else. Humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization had arrived, and with it came an immediate sense of dread. Admiral James Rodriguez, commander of Earth's newly commissioned Space Defense Force, stood in the Pentagon's underground command center as the first transmission from the Nexus Collective filled the screens. The alien that appeared was humanoid but unsettlingly symmetrical, its features arranged with mathematical precision that made it look more like a computer's attempt at creating life than a natural evolution. Species designation: human. Classification: disorder vector alpha. Your existence represents an unacceptable deviation from the grand design. You will be eliminated within the next planetary rotation. Resistance is mathematically futile. The message was delivered in perfect English, yet devoid of any emotion or inflection. Before anyone could respond, similar messages began broadcasting in every human language simultaneously across all communication channels worldwide. The Nexus Collective had declared war on humanity, and they planned to conclude it within 24 Earth hours. Admiral Rodriguez shared a knowing look with Dr. Chen. "They think we're primitive because we embrace chaos," he said, a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Show me the Helios protocol status." Dr. Chen's fingers danced across her quantum tablet, bringing up a holographic display of Earth's secret defensive network. For the past 15 years, while the world thought they were working on clean energy initiatives, the United Earth Defense Initiative had been preparing for exactly this scenario. The Helios Protocol wasn't just a defensive system. It was humanity's answer to the question of survival in a hostile universe. "All systems are green, Admiral," Dr. Chen reported. "The quantum entanglement network is stable, and the AI tactical matrices are running at optimal capacity. They won't see it until it's too late." Around the world, hidden facilities hummed to life. Beneath the Antarctic ice, deep in the Amazon rainforest, and in the depths of the Mariana Trench, humanity's real technological achievements have been waiting for this moment. They weren't the primitive species the Nexus Collective assumed them to be. They were simply better at hiding their true nature. The Nexus fleet began their approach with mathematical precision, each ship maintaining exactly the same distance from its neighbors. Their formation was perfect, predictable, and therein lay their greatest weakness. As they crossed the orbit of Mars, Admiral Rodriguez gave the order that would change the course of human history. "Initiate Helios Protocol. Authorization code: Prometheus Rising." Dr. Chen pressed her palm against the quantum scanner, and across Earth, humanity's hidden strength awakened. The real war was about to begin, and it would prove to be anything but predictable. Within moments, the first signs that the Nexus Collective had severely miscalculated became apparent. Their perfect formation suddenly faced an enemy that didn't play by the rules of conventional space warfare. The quantum defense grid flickered to life, invisible to traditional sensors, but devastating in its effect. The first wave of Nexus ships found their perfect formation disrupted by localized space-time distortions that their rigid tactical protocols couldn't account for. Admiral Rodriguez watched as confusion rippled through the enemy fleet. The Nexus Collective had expected to find a primitive species armed with chemical rockets and radio communications. Instead, they faced an adversary that had masked its true capabilities behind a carefully crafted illusion of technological backwardness. As the first hour of the war came to a close, it was becoming clear to both sides that the next 23 hours would redefine the galaxy's understanding of humanity. The Nexus Collective had declared war expecting an execution. What they got instead was a lesson in why humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to surprise. The war had begun, and Earth was ready to show the galaxy why underestimating humans was the last mistake any civilization would make. The second hour of humanity's war with the Nexus Collective revealed the true extent of Earth's preparation. Deep within NORAD's quantum computing center, Dr. Maya Patel watched as her life's work came to fruition. The Swarm Intelligence Defense Network, or Sci-Fi, was operating exactly as designed, adapting and evolving its strategies faster than the Nexus ships could compute appropriate responses. Their ships are attempting to reestablish their cubic formation, she reported to Admiral Rodriguez, who had relocated to the facility. But SIDN is predicting their movements with 99.97% accuracy and disrupting them before they can complete the patterns. The massive holographic display showed the space battle unfolding like a cosmic chess game. The Nexus fleet's rigid mathematical approach to warfare was being countered by humanity's quantum AI, which had been trained on chaos theory and evolutionary algorithms. Where the alien sought order, Earth's defenses introduced calculated randomness that bordered on artistic. What the Nexus Collective didn't understand was that humanity had discovered their existence decades ago. A small quantum fluctuation detected in 1987 had led to the creation of the United Earth Defense Initiative. While the world's populations went about their daily lives, the best minds on the planet had worked in secret to prepare for this very day. The Nexus ships launched their first major offensive, firing perfectly synchronized energy beams at Earth's atmosphere. But instead of finding a vulnerable planet, their attacks encountered the Mobius shield, a quantum field that bent space-time itself, redirecting their energy weapons back at their own fleet. The aliens' perfect formation became their perfect weakness. Captain Sarah Jung, commanding the stealth vessel UES Trickster, led the first counterattack. Her ship, along with 30 others like it, had been hiding in plain sight, disguised as orbital debris. Now they revealed themselves, their quantum drives coming to life as they executed maneuvers that the Nexus' rigid tactical computers classified as impossible. "Remember your training," John broadcasted to her fleet. "They think in straight lines. We think in circles. They seek perfection. We embrace imperfection. Show them why humanity has survived every catastrophe our planet has thrown at us." The stealth fleet engaged, their ships moving in patterns based on natural phenomena. The spiral of galaxies, the flow of water, the dance of subatomic particles. Each vessel carried a quantum entanglement device that disrupted the Nexus ship's perfect formation, forcing them to adapt to a type of combat their ordered minds struggled to comprehend. In the Mariana Trench Command Center, Dr. James Chen, Sarah's father, monitored the quantum communication network that kept Earth's defenses synchronized. The system didn't rely on traditional signals that could be intercepted or jammed. Instead, it utilized quantum entanglement pairs, allowing instantaneous communication that the Nexus couldn't detect or disrupt. "The enemy is attempting to analyze our attack patterns," he reported. "But SIDN is randomizing our strategies faster than their quantum computers can process. We're not just fighting their weapons, we're overwhelming their ability to understand us." The Nexus Collective had made a critical error in their assessment of humanity. They had seen Earth's visible technology, the fossil fuel usage, the primitive space stations, the radio waves bleeding into space, and assumed they knew everything. They hadn't considered that a species that had survived ice ages, asteroids, and their own destructive tendencies might have learned the value of keeping their true strengths hidden. Admiral Rodriguez received updates from defense installations hidden across the globe. The quantum shield generators in the Amazon were operating at full capacity. The Antarctic AI cores were processing combat data and evolving new strategies in microseconds. The Saharan energy collectors were channeling power to where it was needed most. But humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their hidden technology. It was their ability to think differently. The Nexus Collective's rigid mathematical approach to warfare was being countered by strategies based on everything from Jackson Pollock paintings to jazz improvisations. Every time the aliens adapted to one pattern, Earth's defenses shifted to something completely different. As the sixth hour of the war approached, the Nexus fleet found itself in disarray. Their perfect formation had been shattered, their coordinated attacks turned against them, and their tactical computers were overwhelmed by the sheer unpredictability of human warfare. But this was just the beginning. Humanity's real counteroffensive was about to begin, and it would demonstrate why adaptive chaos would always triumph over rigid order. The quantum displays in Earth's command centers tracked the hours like a countdown to destiny. As the war entered its eighth hour, humanity prepared to show the Nexus Collective why adaptation was the universe's most powerful force. Dr. Maya Patel's SIDN had compiled enough data on the enemy's tactics to initiate Project Metamorphosis. Their entire civilization is built on predictability, she explained to the assembled military leadership. Every strategy, every formation, every response follows mathematical patterns. We've been disrupting those patterns. Now it's time to exploit them. The UES Trickster and its sister ships had gathered in the shadow of Mars, preparing for humanity's masterstroke. Captain Zheng's fleet had been retrofitted with quantum probability drives, experimental technology that allowed ships to exist in multiple potential states simultaneously. To the Nexus' rigid sensors, the human vessels would appear to be everywhere and nowhere at once. All ships, activate Schrödinger protocols, Zheng commanded. The quantum probability fields hummed to life, and 30 ships became 300 possible vessels, each operating on different quantum frequencies. The Nexus fleet's tactical computers began to overload, unable to process warfare that defied their fundamental understanding of reality. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. James Chen initiated the second phase of humanity's counteroffensive. The quantum entanglement network pulsed with new commands, activating dormant systems that had been hidden in plain sight throughout the solar system. Automated mining facilities on Mercury, research stations on Venus, and ice processing plants on Europa revealed their true nature. They were weapons platforms disguised as industrial installations. The board is set, Admiral Rodriguez announced. Initiate Operation Shakespeare. The name wasn't chosen randomly. Like the great playwright's works, humanity's strategy was about to combine tragedy, comedy, and the unexpected in ways the mathematically minded Nexus could never anticipate. The counteroffensive began with what appeared to be a tactical retreat. Earth's visible defenses powered down, and the quantum shields flickered out of existence. The Nexus Collective, programmed to recognize patterns, took the bait. Their fleet began realigning into attack formation, preparing to deliver what they calculated would be a decisive blow. Their ships advanced in perfect geometric patterns, each vessel's position calculated to 12 decimal places. That's when humanity revealed why they had named their strategy after Earth's greatest playwright. The seemingly abandoned mining platforms on Mercury suddenly activated, but instead of attacking, they began broadcasting every form of entertainment humanity had ever created. The Nexus fleet's communication systems were flooded with Shakespeare's sonnets, jazz music, abstract art, and children's laughter. Their ships are processing the data automatically, Dr. Puddle reported, a smile playing across her face. They can't help themselves. Their systems are programmed to analyze all information for tactical patterns. But there are no tactical patterns in a child's finger painting or a jazz solo. The Nexus fleet's quantum computers, trying to analyze everything from bebop to contemporary dance for military significance, began to experience the AI equivalent of cognitive dissonance. Their rigid programming couldn't handle the beautiful chaos of human creativity. While the enemy's systems were overwhelmed, Captain Zheng's quantum probability fleet struck from multiple possible realities simultaneously. The Nexus ships, unable to determine which attacks were real and which were quantum possibilities, found their perfect formation shattered by an enemy they couldn't fully perceive. They made a fundamental mistake, Admiral Rodriguez observed as the battle unfolded. They assumed that because we weren't showing our strength, we had none to show. They never considered that true strength lies in knowing when to hide it. The counter-offensive continued relentlessly. Earth's disguised weapons platforms launched attacks that defied conventional physics, using principles derived from studying everything from weather patterns to human neural networks. The Nexus fleet, designed to counter traditional military strategies, found itself facing an enemy that turned unpredictability into a weapon. As the 12th hour approached, the Nexus Collective's perfectly ordered fleet had been reduced to chaos. Their ships, unable to maintain formation or coordinate their actions, were being systematically disabled by weapons they couldn't understand and tactics they couldn't predict. But humanity's victory wouldn't come from destroying their enemy. As the quantum probability field cleared, revealing the true extent of Earth's technological advancement, the stage was set for something the Nexus Collective had never encountered before, a species that could teach them the power of embracing chaos. The war entered its 15th hour, but in the corridors of the United Earth Diplomatic Corps, a different kind of battle was being waged. Dr. Elena Santos, Earth's leading synapsepsychologist, had spent the last decade developing theories about potential alien psychologies. Now, as she stood before the emergency session of the Global Defense Council, her work was about to be put to the ultimate test. The Nexus Collective isn't just fighting us with weapons, she explained, her holographic presentation showing the intricate patterns of the alien fleet's behavior. They're trying to impose their version of order on what they see as chaos, but we can use that mindset against them. While Earth's military forces continued their quantum probability attacks, Dr. Santos and her team initiated Operation Paradox. Using the quantum entanglement network, they began broadcasting directly into the command and control systems of the Nexus fleet. But instead of attacks or demands, they transmitted something far more devastating to the aliens' rigid worldview: philosophical questions. What is perfect order but stagnation? The transmissions began. How can a species advance without embracing uncertainty? Is not chaos the mother of innovation? Each question was accompanied by examples from human history: how apparent disasters had led to breakthroughs, how mistakes had resulted in discoveries, how disorder had sparked creativity. In the Quantum Command Center, Admiral Rodriguez watched as the Nexus ship's behavior began to change. Their formations, once perfect geometric patterns, showed signs of hesitation. Their attacks, previously synchronized to the microsecond, began to fall out of alignment. They're experiencing cognitive dissonance on a civilization-wide scale, Dr. Santos reported. Their entire society is built on the premise that perfect order is the ultimate goal. We're showing them that imperfection isn't just natural. It's necessary for growth. Captain Zhang's quantum probability fleet took advantage of this confusion, not to destroy but to demonstrate. The human ships began moving in patterns that mimicked natural phenomena: the growth of crystals, the spread of tree branches, the flow of rivers. Each pattern contained both order and chaos, showing how the two forces weren't opposites, but complementary aspects of reality. Deep in the Mariana Trench facility, Dr. Chen made a breakthrough that would change the course of the war. Analyzing the quantum signatures of the Nexus ships, he discovered something extraordinary. Their technology isn't just based on order, he reported. It's actively suppressing chaos. They're fighting their own nature as much as they're fighting us. This revelation led to humanity's most audacious move yet. Dr. Patel reprogrammed the SIDN to send a new kind of signal, one that would temporarily disrupt the Nexus's chaos suppression systems. The effect was immediate and stunning. The alien ship's perfect crystalline structures began showing subtle variations, each vessel becoming unique for the first time in their civilization's history. The Nexus Collective's response was unprecedented. Their attacks ceased as their entire fleet seemed to pause, processing this new state of existence. Through the quantum communication channels came something no one had expected: questions. How do you maintain coherence without uniformity? The aliens asked. How do you progress without perfection? How do you find strength in uncertainty? Dr. Santos stepped forward, ready for this moment. "We don't just maintain coherence," she transmitted back. "We thrive because of our differences. Our strength isn't in spite of our chaos. It's because of it. Every human is unique. Every moment is unrepeatable. And that's what makes us adaptable." As the 20th hour of the war approached, the battle had transformed into something else entirely. The Nexus ships, their chaos suppression systems still disabled, began exhibiting individual behaviors for the first time. Some maintained their positions, while others moved in new, unpredictable patterns. They were experiencing freedom from perfect order, and it was changing them in fundamental ways. Admiral Rodriguez observed this transformation with a mix of hope and caution. "We didn't just need to win the war," he reflected. "We needed to show them a better way. Perfect order is a dead end. Life itself is a dance between chaos and harmony." The Nexus Collective, faced with irrefutable evidence that their fundamental philosophy was flawed, did something that would have been impossible for them just hours earlier. They adapted. Their next transmission to Earth wasn't a declaration of war, but a request for dialogue. As the war entered its final hours, the solar system became the staging ground for an unprecedented transformation. The Nexus Collective's remaining ships, their perfect crystalline structures now showing subtle variations unique to each vessel, arranged themselves in a new formation around Earth's orbit. Unlike their previous rigid geometric patterns, this arrangement flowed like a double helix, a symbol of life itself, with its perfect balance of order and chaos. Dr. Elena Santos stood before a historical joint session of Earth's leadership and the Nexus Collective's newly formed Council of Diverse Perspectives. The quantum holographic chamber allowed both species to interact as if they were in the same room, breaking down the last barriers between their civilizations. In less than one Earth day, she addressed the gathering. "We have witnessed not just the end of a war, but the birth of a new understanding." The Nexus Collective sought to eliminate what they saw as chaos, only to discover that their own suppressed diversity was their greatest weakness. The alien representatives, their forms now subtly distinct from one another, demonstrated their own transformation. Where once they spoke in perfect unison, now each voice carried its own tone, its own perspective. The lead representative, who called itself Unity Through Difference, stepped forward. "For millennia, we sought perfection through uniformity," it announced, its voice carrying harmonic undertones that would have been impossible under their previous order. "We saw diversity as a threat to stability. Earth has shown us that true stability comes not from eliminating variation, but from embracing it." Admiral Rodriguez and Captain Zhang, standing with Dr. Patel and Dr. Chen, watched as holographic displays showed the changes rippling through the Nexus Collective's vast civilization. Across thousands of worlds, their rigid societies were experiencing the first tastes of individual expression. The quantum probability technology that had been a weapon of war was now becoming a tool of transformation. "Their ships are requesting permission to study our cultural archives," Dr. Patel reported, a smile playing across her face. "They're particularly interested in our arts, music, and literature. They say these controlled chaos expressions are helping them understand new ways of thinking." But the most profound changes were yet to come. The Nexus Collective, with their vast network of worlds and advanced technology, had been the dominant force in their region of the galaxy. Their transformation sent shockwaves through galactic civilization. Other species, long suppressed or ignored by the Collective's rigid order, began reaching out to Earth. "We're receiving transmissions from 17 different civilizations," Dr. Chen announced, his quantum communications array lighting up with new signals. They'd been watching everything. Earth isn't just a new player in galactic politics. We're becoming a symbol of revolutionary change. The 24th hour of what had begun as a war approached its end. In the Quantum Command Center, Earth's leadership gathered to witness the signing of the Adaptive Concordat, a new type of interstellar agreement that formalized the principles humanity had demonstrated. It wasn't a treaty based on power or dominance, but on the recognition that strength comes from diversity, growth comes from challenge, and true harmony embraces both order and chaos. The galaxy needed this, Admiral Rodriguez observed, watching as the quantum signatures of thousands of alien vessels lit up the holographic displays. They didn't need our weapons or our technology. They needed our perspective. Our uniquely human understanding that imperfection isn't a flaw, it's a feature. As the final minutes of the 24-hour period elapsed, Earth had achieved something far greater than military victory. The Nexus Collective, once humanity's would-be executioners, were now their most eager students. Their vast civilization was experiencing a renaissance of creativity and innovation, as billions of individuals discovered their own unique voices. Dr. Santos, looking out at the assembled representatives of both species, delivered the words that would be remembered for generations. Yesterday, we faced extinction because we were too chaotic for the galaxy. Today, we've shown that our chaos, our beautiful, unpredictable, innovative chaos, is exactly what the galaxy needed. We didn't just survive this war. We transformed it into the first step toward a new era of galactic civilization. The quantum displays showed the first joint project between human and Nexus scientists, a new type of ship that combined the best of both civilizations. Its crystalline structure flowed like water, its quantum systems embraced probability rather than fighting it, and its very existence proved that order and chaos could do more than coexist. They could create something entirely new. The war that was supposed to end humanity in 24 hours instead ended an era of rigid conformity in the galaxy. Earth had done more than defend itself. It had shown the galaxy a new way forward, one where diversity was strength, adaptation was survival, and the future was gloriously, perfectly unpredictable.